Welcome back to After the Streams. The apocalypse deepens and the survivors are learning that it's not just about staying alive anymore. Secrets are unraveling, loyalties are tested, and the truth behind Project Perseid is starting to bleed through the cracks. This is Whispers Bet Windows, and if you're ready to step back into the chaos, remember to like and subscribe, because we bring you horror and survival stories every single day. Now let's dive into episode 2, Splinters. The shelf finally gave way. Fists punched through the glass, sending shards skittering across the floor. Tyson's barking thundered against the walls. Go back door, Buck roared. Rico shoved past first, his back clutched like a lifeline. Wade and Kim stumbled after him, holding hands as though their grip alone could keep them safe. Santana pushed Toya ahead, not letting go for even a second. Buck stayed behind until the last moment, crowbar swinging. One pale face pushed through the broken frame. Buck split it open with a grunt, then sprinted for the rear exit. Tyson darted at his heels. They burst into an alley reeking of garbage and rot. The night outside wasn't silent anymore. Sirens wailed, fires roared, and the air itself carried the sound of 1,000 voices, screams, growls, begging. Kim froze in place, staring at the chaos spilling across the skyline. "It's the whole city," she whispered. "Not just one block or not just one street." Wade tugged her arm hard. "Move!" They ran, feet slapping against cracked pavement, past graffitis, mere dumpsters, and overturned trash bins. Rico kept looking over his shoulder, flinching at shadows. "It wasn't like this yesterday," he muttered. "I went to bed and woke up, and everyone was different, like the world skipped a step." "Shut it," Buck snapped. "No, he's right," Santana cut in, breathing hard. "This wasn't random. Things don't fall apart overnight unless something pushed it. You saw how fast they move. You saw their eyes. That's not natural." "You want to talk theories?" Buck growled. "Save it for when we're not being hunted." They turned a corner and froze. The avenue stretched wide and open, littered with stalled cars. Street lamps flickered, throwing long shadows. Bodies lay scattered across the asphalt, some broken, some twitching. From a shattered storefront, a TV flickered static before cutting to an emergency broadcast. "Stay inside. Do not attempt to evacuate. Martial law is in effect. The National Guard has been deployed." The screen cracked to black. "Yeah," Kim muttered. "That inspires confidence." Rico laughed nervously, too loud. "See, they'll fix it. Government's on it. Just gotta hold out." "Brother," Santana said flatly. "Look around. You think anyone's fixing this?" The argument hung heavy as they crossed the street. Tyson patted ahead, ears pricked, every movement deliberate. Suddenly he stopped dead, hackles rising. A deep growl rumbled from his chest. Buck crouched low. "What is it, boy?" The group followed his gaze. From under a car, pale fingers curled, scraping the ground. Then another set, and another. 3 figures pulled themselves out, broken limbs snapping back into place as they rose. "Oh, hell no," Wade whispered. "Stay tight," Buck barked. He hefted the crowbar, but his eyes darted between his exhausted brother and trembling They wouldn't make it if every block looked like this. "Up there," Kim hissed, pointing at a brick building with boarded windows and a fire escape ladder still dangling halfway down. "If we can get inside." Santana glanced, jaw clenched. "Could be a trap, or it's shelter," Buck shot back. "We don't know what's in there. We know what's out here." Buck's voice cracked with urgency. "Pick one." The figures staggered closer, shrieks rattling through the street. Tyson lunged forward, snarling, keeping them back just long enough for Buck to shove the group toward the ladder. Rico climbed first, scrambling like a man with no pride left. Wade and Kim followed, shaken but quick. Toya hesitated until Santana boosted her up, then clambered after her. Buck gave Tyson one last look. "Up, boy." The pit bull leaped, paused, scrambling against the metal, and Buck grabbed his harness, hauling him onto the lowest rung before climbing after. By the time the dead reached the fire escape, the group was already scrambling up. Pale hands stretched but fell short, claws scraping against the iron frame. Their screams followed the survivors into the night sky, where smoke and sirens painted the horizon. At the top, they collapsed onto the roof, lungs burning. For a moment, no one spoke. The city roared around them, a beast alive with fire and hunger. Kim broke the silence, voice shaking. "So what now? We can't run forever." Buck scanned the skyline, eyes narrowing. In the distance, a radio tower blinked red against the clouds, steady and strong. It cut through the chaos like a promisor, a warning. He pointed there. "If there's anyone left, they'll be there. Broadcast means power dot, power means people." Santana shook his head. "Or it means trouble. That tower's bait. Could pull every desperate soul in the city." The group looked at him, torn between hope and fear. Tyson lay at Buck's feet, chest heaving, but his eyes never left the horizon. One choice, one direction, and maybe one chance to survive. Toward the towered rooftop felt like a lifeline, but Buck knew it wouldn't last. From up there, the city was alive with chaos fires spreading like veins, cars abandoned in every lane, and packs of the infected moving through the streets like wolves. The blinking red light of the radio tower still pulsed in the distance, a heartbeat in the dark. "We move now," Buck said, no hesitation in his voice. Santana snapped his head toward him. "Now are you out of your mind? Half the streets down there are crawling. We hold up here, wait for daylight, then plan. There won't be daylight," Buck shot back. "Not the kind we want. You think those things go to sleep? No, they'll multiply. Every hour we wait, more of them. We need that tower." Rico shifted nervously, clutching his bat. "What if it's a trap?" "It's a signal," Buck said, glaring. "Trap or not, it's better than starving to death up here." Tyson growled low, pacing the edge of the rooftop. His ears pricked at every sound, every distant scream. Wade spoke up quietly, glancing at Kim. "I'm with Buck. At least the tower means someone's alive, maybe organized. We can't stay up here with nothing but brick and smoke." Kim nodded reluctantly. "If we're gonna move, let's move before I lose my nerve." Santana cursed under his breath, but he couldn't argue with the way Toya clutched his arm, eyes wide. He squeezed her hand, jaw tight. "Fine, but if this goes south, I'm not letting my girl get dragged into your suicide march." They moved fast. The fire escape rattled as they climbed down, one at a time. Tyson was lowered carefully, whining but quiet. The street below was eerily empty, save for a few cars smoldering in the night. "Head east," Buck ordered, scanning the skyline. "Keep the tower in view." The group darted through alleyways, sticking low. Every step felt louder than it was the crunch of glass. The creak of a door in the wind, Tyson's nails clicking against asphalt. Halfway down a narrow street, Wade froze. "Wait, listen." Everyone went still. From the far end of the block came a shuffling sound, uneven and heavy. A figure stumbled into the street, tits, jaw hanging loose, skin torn in strips. Behind it, another and another. "Back," Santana hissed. "No time," Buck growled. He scanned the street, spotted a delivery van with its side door hanging open. Inside, Kim tripped on a chunk of broken curb, but Wade caught her, dragging her upright. Rico scrambled in first, then Wade and Kim. Toya climbed in with Santana pushing her. Buck lifted Tyson inside before hauling himself up. The van reeked of rot, but it gave them cover. Through the cracked windshield, the infected stumbled past, too fixated on noise further down the block to notice. The group sat in silence, every breath measured. Toya's whisper cut the quiet. "This is insane. We're gonna die chasing a red light." Buck looked her dead in the eye. "Oh, die, hiding dot, pick your poison." Minutes crawled by Dot finally. The street quieted. Buck cracked the door, peered out. Clear enough, he signaled with 2 fingers. They kept moving. Nearer to the tower, the streets looked worse. Barricades of overturned cars, burned out buses, smashed storefronts. A makeshift roadblock bore spray-painted words. "Turn back." Kim stopped in her tracks, reading the message. "That's not warning zombies. That's warning us." Santana sneered. "Still think this tower is salvation?" Before Buck could answer, Tyson stiffened. His head jerked toward the barricade, a growl tearing from his throat. A shadow moved, not stumbling, broken, smooth, deliberate. Then another, and another, not infected, Dot armed. Guns rose from behind the wreckage. Flashlights flared, blinding the group. "Hands up," a voice barked. Buck's crowbar dropped to the ground with a metallic clang. Tyson snarled, but Buck's sharp command down kept him from lunging. The figures stepped forward, rifles trained, faces hidden behind scarves and helmets. One of them tilted his head at the group. "Tower's off limits. If you're smart, you'll turn around." But Buck's eyes stayed locked on the red light blinking above the skyline, steady and relentless. He clenched his fists. We didn't come this far to turn around. The standoff. The flashlight beams cut like blades across the street, searing into their eyes. Buck squinted but kept his hands raised high, his breath steady. Round him, the others hesitated, fear painted on every face. Tyson growled, low teeth flashing white in the glow. "Easy, boy," Buck whispered, though his own jaw was tight. The armed figures spread out, moving with the discipline of people who had done this before. They weren't scavengers, they weren't panicked survivors. These were people who had claimed territory, and the tower stood at its heart. "You're trespassing," the lead figure said, his voice muffled behind a scarf wrapped around his mouth. "Turn around, go back where you came from." Santana laughed bitterly. "Go back? To what? Burning streets? Hungry corpses? You think we've got options?" The man's flashlight swung toward him. I think you've got a choice, live or die. Sounds like the same damn thing out here, Santana shot back. Buck stepped forward, just enough to draw their eyes. His voice was calm, deliberate. We're not here to take anything from you. We're headed to the tower, that's all. The man lowered his rifle just a fraction, but another survivor barked out a sharp laugh. The tower, that's off. Nobody goes in, nobody goes near it, unless you want to end up strung on the fences like the last crew. Toya's voice wavered. What do you mean the last crew? Silence answered her, thick and heavy. Kim grabbed Wade's arm, whispering, I don't like this. Wade just tightened his grip, keeping her close. The leader shifted his stance. You gonna drop your weapons and walk away? That's your one warning. Buck's eyes flicked to his crew. Rico's knuckles were white around his bat. Santana was bristling like a storm, ready to snap. Toya's chest rose and fell in panicked bursts. Wade looked like he was calculating odds, and Kim was just trying not to break. Buck felt Tyson pressing against his leg, muscles coiled. They were seconds from losing control of the situation. Listen, Buck said firmly, his voice carrying weight. We're not walking away. Whatever's in that tower, it matters. You think you're protecting it? Fine, but we're not the enemy. The leader hesitated, then lifted his rifle higher. Everyone's the enemy now. That was the spark. His bat scraped against the ground as he shifted, and Tyson lunged, barking savagely. Shouts rang out, rifles jerking up, fingers tightening on triggers. Stop, Buck roared, throwing himself between Tyson and the guns. His arms were wide, his chest heaving. You fire, we all die, not what you want. The street fell into a frozen silence. For a long, trembling moment, nobody moved. Finally, the leader lifted a hand. His squad lowered their weapons, though their eyes stayed sharp with suspicion. You've got guts, the man muttered. Guts get you killed. He turned his head slightly, but maybe not tonight. The rifles didn't drop completely, but they stopped aiming at heads. The tension cracked just enough to breathe. Buck's voice was steady as steel. Then let us through. The leader studied him, then the group. His gaze lingered on Toya's shaking hands, Santana's clenched fists, Tyson's bared teeth. Finally, he sighed. You want the tower? He said, voice low. Fine, you get one shot, but when you see what's inside, don't say I didn't warn you. He waved his squad back, creating a narrow gap in the barricade. Buck exhaled slowly, lowering his arms. He told the group. They slipped past the rifles one by one, hearts hammering, never letting their backs turn fully to the strangers. Tyson padded close to Buck, growling until they were through. The barricade loomed behind them now, ahead. The tower rose like a skeletal giant, its red light pulsing, pulling them forward. And though the guns were at their backs, the real danger still lay ahead. The tower's shadow. The tower loomed larger with every step, its skeletal frame outlined by the blood-red pulse at its peak. The light flickered like a heartbeat, steady, alive, unnatural. The group walked in silence, the echo of the standoff still vibrating in their bones. Tyson's ears twitched, his growls deep and constant now. The pit bull padded close to Buck, hackles raised, as though every shadow was a threat waiting to strike. Feels like it's watching us, Kim whispered, her eyes darting between the tower and the empty windows of surrounding buildings. Like the whole city's leaning this way. Don't start, Wade muttered, though his own voice shook. Santana kicked a loose bottle across the asphalt, the sound sharp in the dead street. We're finally here, and now what? We just walk in like it's the damn mall. Toya grabbed his arm. Stop, just stop, okay? You heard what those people said. The last crew ended up on fences. Her words seemed to hang in the night. Rico's eyes were locked on the base of the tower, where a chain-link fence wrapped the perimeter. As they got closer, the shapes hanging from it came into focus. He stopped cold. Oh, hell no. They were bodies, all dead. Some twitched faintly, mouths stretched open in soundless screams. Their skin was gray, their eyes bloodshot and glowing faintly in the red wash from above. Each one was wired cables running from their necks, arms, even their mouths, back into the tower's walls. They're not just infected, Kim breathed, horrified. They're plugged in. Buck stepped closer, his face hard, though the stench nearly made him gag. He could see bite wounds on some, but others looked untouched, as if they'd been taken alive and strapped into this macabre circuit. Project Perseid, he muttered. They weren't just broadcasting, they were feeding off these people. A soft hum filled the air, low and vibrating through their bones. Tyson whimpered, then barked sharply at the fence, startling everyone. One of the half-dead things on the wire jumped violently, eyes rolling toward the group. Cole raised his bat. Tell me we're not going in there. We don't have a choice, Buck said flatly. Whatever answers we're gonna find, it's in that tower. The gate was chained, but Santana didn't wait. He pulled a fire axe from his back and hacked down with a grunt. Metal groaned and snapped. the sound echoing like a gunshot. "Quiet, damn it," Wade hissed. "You're gonna bring half the city." Too late. From the shadows of a parking garage, movement stirred. Dozens of glowing eyes blinked open, watching. The group froze. The first infected staggered into the red wash of light, its jaw hanging loose, wires protruding from its skin like veins. Then another dot, then more. A horde. Not quite alive, not quite dead, drawn by the hum of the tower, now awakened by the sound of breaking steel. "They're tethered," Kim whispered, pointing at the faint cables dragging behind the creatures. "Like the tower's keeping them on a leash." "Not for long," Rico snapped, brandishing his bat. "They're coming inside," Buck barked. "Move." The gate clattered open and the group shoved through, slamming it behind them as the infected hit the fence like a wave. Tyson snarled, snapping at the air. A spark shot from the wires connecting the creatures. They were inside now. The tower loomed above, humming louder, like it knew they'd arrived. For a moment, none of them spoke. Then Toya whispered, "What if this was the plan all along? What if they wanted us here?" No one answered, but the red pulse overhead seemed to quicken, as if in reply. And that's where we'll leave it for now. The tower looms, the hum grows louder, and the group realizes they may have walked into something far bigger than survival itself. What waits inside Project Perseid's creation is only just beginning to reveal itself. If you're enjoying this journey through chaos and secrets, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and join us for the next episode. This is Whispers of Deeplands, and we'll see you in the next broadcast.